This sixth chakra was created in the human beings when he started thinking. Thinking is language expressed. If we do not have a language, we cannot think. But it does not mean there is no thought coming into us. If we cannot express it, it does not mean there is no thought process working in us. But at that certain stage, when the thoughts are coming to us, they are not in language. So they are not communicated to us. And that's why if we do not have language, we cannot understand what we are thinking. That's why you must have seen children cannot communicate to us what they want because they cannot say what they are wanting. They feel the urge in the stomach and they want to ask for, say, water or something, but they can't say it to us. And that's why they cannot think what they have to say about. But afterwards, when you start thinking and putting it into language, that language is stored in our brain, as shown in the picture on the left-hand side and also on the right-hand side of that yellow and black. Then it comes back to us later on as thought waves, as if somebody is talking to us. But before the language starts, we can call it the inspiration or the thought process at the very early stage comes to us in certain forms. And those forms are in light and shade. They are not in language, but in light and shade. And after coming to Sahaja, if you go deep into your thoughts, you'll find they are nothing but lights and shade that are covering our Ajna Chakra. One after another, a light and shade like a circular lighthouse, they give a kind of a pattern in our head. Now these patterns are molded into language by us at a very early stage, and these are sort of filled into the cups of language, and then these cups are kept reserved in the brain and they come to us that way. When we think, we really understand because it's a language that comes to us. So what happens to the animals? Do they think or not? They get a thought, an inspiration. But they won't be just thinking about it. Now these inspirations come to them as words when they start living with human beings. So these inspirations go into the thought again as we do. For example, you give somebody a name, say you call him say Tom or something you call a dog. So now he knows that this word means calling me. So he connects himself with that word. But when he does not have the word, when he is just an animal, he is just there, he doesn't think. That's why they are very spontaneous and we are not. Animals are extremely spontaneous, but because they do not think the way we think. And this has created the greatest problem for human beings, how to get beyond thoughts. It's a little complicated thing because perhaps I can see that very clearly as you cannot see the light. And then the light forms the language. And then language, according to us, becomes our thoughts. But these thoughts are really conditionings on us and they are not inspired things. They are not coming from inside. And that's why we are not spontaneous. For example, if I am sitting here, now I cannot keep quiet as a human being. I'll be thinking about something I'll be thinking, what am I going to say? Then should I say this or not? Or if I say this, will that be alright or not? Will that go into their heads or not? All sorts of thoughts will be coming into my head. Then from one side, I will be questioning myself. From the other side, the answers will be coming. Alright, you say this, and if you say like this, they may appreciate you. Go this way, that way, they will understand. Like that. You see, so the sorting out goes on in our brain through our experiences of this lifetime of ours. Whatever have been our experiences in this lifetime, in dealing with people, in getting experiences from others, all these are conditioned into our brain. And the whole thing becomes a thought process, which comes to us through this interaction of thought and action and thought. We just start weighing which action to take, what thought to be put in, how to solve it, and we think we are analyzing ourselves. It's a very, very superficial thing. Actually, you do not analyze anything whatsoever. You do not. As I told you the other day, you do not do anything. So your thinking is nothing but a bubbling going on. Because when, like a sea even, which is so deep down, so quiet, when it touches the shore, it has a action and reaction. In the same way, when you are seeing at something, because your attention is outside, immediately a thought wave is created out of that, which goes back and gives you all the images about it, whatever you know about that particular thing, and it comes back to you as a thought process. It's going on all the time. And it can be so maddening that we cannot stop our thoughts. It just goes on like mad. You don't know, you can't sleep because thoughts are coming. Sometimes they could be horrifying, sometimes they are gratifying, sometimes romantic, sometimes absolutely negative, sometimes very positive, sometimes you feel I must do this, sometimes you feel I shouldn't do this. But when you actually do, you do not think. It's surprising, we never notice that when we are doing that particular thing, supposing I say I am going to speak these things. Now when I have thought about it, that I thought say about 10 minutes before, when I am speaking it, I am not thinking that what I was going to speak. Because that time I think and built in that process of thinking into my brain and put it somewhere stored, and then now when I have started this flow, that is coming directly. So human beings have developed, I should say, a process which can be a very sickening thing. Very, very sickening. And this comes out of both of these. Is one, the left side that we call the ego, which has gone this side, and the right side we call the superego. All the conditioning on the right hand side of the superego gives us the fears, the dangers, the possibilities, whatever we have experienced before. As they say, those who have been burnt by milk also take a cold drink after blowing it a little. Because you have been burnt, you know something liquid has burnt you, so you think this may also burn your tongue. So you may try to do that. It is so spontaneous that time that you feel that, oh, it's very spontaneous, but it is not. It has been stored before in your experiences and something there that you are afraid of, and that's why you do it. If you once realize that this thought process is absolutely not necessary for us to exist. There is no need to have any thought about the future or about the past if you want to exist as human beings. Animals do not bother. For example, animals know that they are going in a jungle. Now suddenly they find some other animal coming from there, and they know that you have to attack. Now what sense of thinking about the animal that is going to come? Supposing it does not come, then it's such a waste. But they have a hole here, and they have no problem as we have, because they have a hole, the whole thing goes out. It doesn't stick for more than a minute there. But you can condition them also by experiences they are conditioned. By experiences that they have had so far about other animals and things, they are conditioned, and they act accordingly. So there's a tremendous difference between us and them is that we think about everything. I mean, we think it's a very great thing to sit down and think about. And we think it's very wise to sit down and think about it. Any problem comes in, we think, better sit down and think about it. But now what do we do when a problem arrives? We think about it in relation to whatever we have been doing before and whatever our experience have been. In the same way, they want to think about Sahaja Yoga. Now you cannot think about Sahaja Yoga. First of all, you become thoughtlessly aware in Sahaja Yoga to begin with. You cannot think. But it is a happening about which you cannot think. It's a living happening. Thinking is a dead movement. It's not a living movement. Whatever is dead in us comes back to us as thought. Inspiration is living, not the thinking. Inspiration is very different from the thought. For example, books are in the library. Everything that we have thought of or have got it or experienced is in the books. Whatever is new coming to us is the inspiration. Now just find out how many new things you are thinking. Perhaps not even a sentence. Mostly we say that this gentleman said so, that gentleman said so, that gentleman said so, or I said so, said. If you can think about that is coming just now into you, you don't have to think for it, it just comes. It is inside you, it just emerges and expresses itself. So that is the spontaneous living thing. That is what we call as inspiration, is a sudden glimpse of the knowledge that we get. But whatever we have thinking about is all the play of the dead.